I know before this class I didn't know much about BRAC. However, now that I do know, I think it's a really useful resource that is beneficial to everyone. An opportunity would be the wealth of art and culture that Baton Rouge has to offer. It does attract a diverse group of people. So through our trek, our goal was to expose arts and cultures that people weren't very familiar with, so that people would know that there are things here in Baton Rouge for everyone to do, any type of person, no matter what activities you enjoy doing. A threat for BRAC would be opposing cities such as Houston and New Orleans that do offer similar business opportunities, and we know people are familiar with the culture of New Orleans, so our trek really focused on familiarizing people with the culture of Baton Rouge, particularly young adults, and Alexis is going to talk to you about the target audience.
Hey, I'm Alexis. I was the account liaison for this project. One of our biggest primary target audience for this trek was young professionals. As Megan said, the threat to BRAC is that surrounding areas like Houston, Austin, New Orleans have such big artistic flair, experiences and opportunities for young professionals that are really catching their eye and driving them to those areas. So a little bit about our target audience. These are people that are in their mid-20s and 30s. They have a college education. They're actively seeking work. They want to establish a home base for their future careers. Especially when it comes to arts and culture, this group of people is extremely artistic. They're intuitive. They have an entrepreneurial spirit about them. So something that BRAC could really focus on is just targeting this audience. And they already make up 32% of Baton Rouge. So in order to do that, we can get really dependent on social media because this age bracket really does depend on social media. They have just some of their demographics there. They have a median income of like $45,000 a year. They're creative. They're more liberal than, say, like middle-aged adults. And they're discouraged by retrogression. So by moving forward and making current and modern technologies to target this group would really be beneficial for BRAC. And one of the things that Portfolio magazine about 2 years ago said that Baton Rouge is one of the top 10 places for young adults. And as you can see, in the past few years, Baton Rouge has really attracted younger people and people that are looking for work. So it's really beneficial to BRAC to target these people. And Erica's going to talk a little bit more about our secondary audience, which was middle-aged adults.
Alright guys, like Alexis said, our secondary audience we targeted were middle-aged adults. These people were typically in the 40 to 50-year-old age range. They're moving out of the young professional range. They probably focus on their career heavily in their early 20s, and now they're looking to start establishing families. Maybe they moved away for college. They're originally born and raised in Baton Rouge, went away to a big city to start their career, and now when they're trying to start their family, they're looking to establish that home base, looking for home ownership, and they miss the small town community feel of Baton Rouge. These people typically have a median income around $75,000, college educated, married, starting families, maybe even already have a small one and looking for good school systems before they start getting into grade school and everything. And they're really conservative in their values typically. They have a strong sense of moral and social responsibilities, and they're really interested in the idea of generativity, which is the desire to expand one's influence and commitment to family, society, and future generations, which means that they just want to establish and help guide the next generation to take their place. These people usually have type A personalities. They're competitive, hard-driven, and really reactive. And this demographic typically prefers traditional forms of advertising. So we did the whole social media far as strategies go, like Alex and Eric have already said, we know that the young professional demographic is more interested and will be more influenced by modern media outlets like social media, things like our YouTube video and things like that. So we really focused on putting all of the same content into two different baskets, basically. So for our primary audience, we focus on social media and new media outlets. For our secondary audience, we really focus on traditional media, just another way to get our message out there. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to you.
Continuing with our plan, the theme we chose to promote was Get in Touch with Your Artistic Side, Baton Rouge. We believe that Baton Rouge is filled with lots of hidden gems. Coming from out of state and only going to LSU and living on campus, I wasn't aware of everything that Baton Rouge has to offer. Researching for this campaign, I've become aware of all the art and culture that Baton Rouge has to offer, and we really want to expose this to those young professionals who maybe only went to college here or people who grew up here and are coming back to see how Baton Rouge has grown and expanded. The message that we chose to promote is obviously art and culture. That's the aspect that we're promoting. We believe it's so strong in Baton Rouge that it's a great prospect for people to be attracted to. Like we said earlier, people are also attracted to Austin, Houston, New Orleans because of their strong art and culture presence. But Baton Rouge has just a strong presence, and we want to make people aware of that. We want to promote another side of Baton Rouge. A lot of people just think Baton Rouge has LSU to offer, but there's so much more, and we're going to attract people to the area by showing them this. In order to promote our themes and messages, the channels we're going to use are traditional media and modern media. Like we said earlier, we want to promote the arts and culture of Baton Rouge to both young professionals as well as the older generations who are beginning their families. So for the traditional media, for our secondary audience, we chose to make a flyer, a postcard, as well as some written materials for the media to use. The modern media that we chose to use is social media. Young professionals are attracted to this form of media, so we created a Facebook account, a Twitter page, and a YouTube video to learn how to use the scavenger app and promote the trek. We believe that BRAC already has a strong social media presence and it's working well for them, so by continuing to use this, we're going to continue to attract young professionals. And I'm going to pass it on.
Okay, so this is our trek. We built a trek to take individuals around Baton Rouge to areas that really express the art and culture. And we had 8 challenges. Some of the challenges include the bell tower, which we asked individuals to look at the bell tower and notice something unique about it, which happens to be that the number 4 is not in a normal Roman numeral. And then we also have the Shaw Center, which asked individuals to take a picture by the fountains, and the Shaw Center is a really great area because it exposes arts, and it also has the Manship Theater. And then another example, one really great thing about Baton Rouge is the cuisine, and so we had individuals go to Chimes and take a picture of their favorite dish. One thing that is unique and a delicacy to Baton Rouge would be the oysters, so that would be an example. And so each challenge, players received 2 points upon completing a challenge, and once they received 10 points, they were rewarded with a discount to sit at a BRAC lunch-in. And so this is just an example of what the page looked like on Scavenger, and each challenge had a description. I made a challenge for the LSU Museum, taking a picture next to a bear, so people would upload their pictures or check into a location, and that's how they would receive their points.
So to get the word out, we made some deliverables. And in terms of written materials, I made the news release, and we kind of focused on just letting people know about what's going on with BRAC, kind of like a brief history of what they've done in the past and how Scavenger is really just this new cool app that is really going to attract people to Baton Rouge and to the surrounding arts and culture. For the media advisory, we just kind of had a detailed, concise who, what, when, where, and why that can be sent to Dig Magazine, Advocate 225, just surrounding local media to get the word out. And in terms of talking points, we created just a brief little synopsis of what's going on, and these could be points that you could use at a luncheon or another speaker. Just talk about development, just all the things that Scavenger has done and what it will continue to do if you choose to promote your company with it.
excited about the trek. It has photos of different locations to check in at, as well as information about how to start the trek and what scavenger is. So those are the rest of our traditional media.
We also created Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube accounts for our arts and culture trek. On Facebook, we typically do things such as upload photo albums of different check-in locations. We posted our YouTube video also on Facebook to keep our channels connected. We vary the content to fit the different profiles. Facebook, we posted updates, necessary information. And then on Twitter, we had a hashtag that was hashtag #VRArtsCulture. And on Twitter, we also like to promote really interactive answers, questions, just thought-provoking things to get people to interact with us, ask questions, get excited about this trek as it starts coming out versus the typical content pushing on Facebook.
Okay, so we have worked very hard on this campaign and we're very proud of it. Something to note is that all of us kind of had an opinion on service learning before we started. At the end of this project, we just want to thank Brack and thank Jensen for really letting us have the experience that we've had with this campaign. We all feel very connected with it and we feel like we learned so much through working for Brack. That being said, we have a couple of final pointers or suggestions for Brack. First of all, our mobile promotions. We love Scavenger. We think that it's so unique and so exciting. Being upcoming young professionals, we love the idea of using a smartphone app to engage in the community that we may call home one day. From personal experience, I could just think of going on interviews in other cities, and if that was promoted, going around and getting a real feel for where I may be living, and we love that. So our suggestion would be to explore that even more. Continue using Scavenger, even go into other applications, gaming applications, to start advertising and promoting Brack and local businesses. Another suggestion for us is we know that y'all are established on social media. If we've learned one thing over semester is that social media has its foot in the door and it's growing all the time. Our suggestion would be just to continue. I personally got my idea to create our YouTube video from y'all's YouTube video on the Brack About page about small business interactions. Super effective.